Joining me today is Alex Twigg, General Manager of UBank. He'll be speaking at IIR's Retail Financial Services Forum, which takes place on the 27th to 28th of September 2011 in Sydney. Hello Alex, thanks very much for joining me today.
Hi, it's an absolute pleasure.
First of all, how is the internet changing consumer behaviours, including 24/7?
Well, I think there's a couple of ways that it's changing quite dramatically. So, the old days of going down the high street and browsing for items you wanted to purchase is disappearing, and that whole research and inquiry piece is now happening far more online, and consumers are learning about what they want to purchase, educating themselves about what's available. In some cases, they're still going to the high street to purchase that, but in a growing number of cases, they're actually looking to execute those purchases online as well. So that's quite a shift from what we've seen in the past. We've seen it happen very much in retail businesses over the recent years. We've seen a tremendous take-up in financial services in the UK and US in that mode, and now we're seeing the same pickup and probably exponential growth in what we've seen in Australia.
Do you think banking's turning that way into very much more an internet-driven operation, and how willing have customers been in embracing online banking?
I think you've got, it depends on the customers and depends on their needs. There is a section of the community that has simple banking needs, is well educated, well used to using the internet, and they can find what they need. They can get what they need in the cracks in their day over the internet very well, and they're very happy with that. There's another section of the community which desires and needs face-to-face help and guidance. They need the security of being able to pop into a branch, but that community is a dwindling community, and what you're finding is that people are happy to do their everyday transactional relationship via the internet, and where they require something more complex, or where there's a big financial component to it, then they'll probably look for the face-to-face component.
And as far as the face-to-face interaction is concerned, what's UBank actually doing to maintain this personal service?
So look, the internet is a rapidly evolving thing. You've seen the way that we've seen social media climb in its adoption. You've seen the way that personalisation for websites and interactivity has changed. UBank has taken both of those things on board very strongly. We think about not user experience as a traditional internet user experiences. We think about what we call the customer journey. From the moment they come to the website in research and inquiry mode, all the way through to how they process a transaction at the end. We think about that lifespan of the interaction with the customer, all the communication that happens in between, whether it be email, text message, on screen, and we try and actually build a very personalised experience through that internet channel, and that actually drives, in some cases, I actually think, a better personalised experience than you'd get from a face-to-face world. It's very consistent, exactly what you're going to get, and we can actually make that experience and tailor that experience to you. We can interact with you through social media and provide you with that, almost instantaneous level of communication, of a one-to-one perspective. And as technology develops, you'll see that more and more of that will become achievable through the use of the electronic channels.
How is UBank actually pioneering online applications and customer verification, as well as new call centre approaches and social media, as you mentioned before?
Okay, so on the online application, we've originally we took the stance that as a direct bank, launching a direct bank, what's the biggest barrier to people coming and doing business with you? They're used to going online, they're used to buying books from Amazon, there's no, it's a one-click apply process. how do we make that work in financial services? The biggest obstacle to making that happen is the know your customer process, or what's in the past was called the 100-point check. So traditionally, you'd either have to go to a branch with your passport, your driving license, or you'd have to photocopy those and send those in. And it's just too much hassle in the process. So we had to find a way to take that out. And we invested quite heavily in creating an electronic know your customer process, which means that for a deposit account, you can literally come to ubank.com, enter your details, and within 10 minutes you can have your internet banking login details. You can be logged into internet banking. We'll have done your 100-point check, and you can be paying money into your account. That was a first for Australia, and I think almost a world first in its own right. And we thought about that. That has to be seamless. We have to try and get to the Amazon equivalent of the one-click apply. And then in our recent Home Loan launch, where we've been selling refinance mortgages, we thought about that process as well. Was how do you create a process that you can do online on your own in half an hour? We thought about the pain points that people have in when they apply for a mortgage. How do I know that I'm getting it? Where it is in the process? When's the next part going to follow along? Have I been successful? Are the documents I provided accurate, etc., etc. So we took a very similar approach to deposits. We made the application process completely dynamic, so that it only asks you the questions that it needs to ask you based upon the information you've already given. It then gives you a indicative decision immediately at the point of submit, so it tells you, whether you're inside or outside the lending policy, or whether you're likely to get approved. And then once you're through that, through the application process itself, it then takes you into the Home Loan tracker, which enables you to track your application yourself from the moment of submission all the way through to the point that your mortgage is settled. We tell you what documents you've got, what you need to do next, what we're doing for you at any particular point in time. You can see the progress of how we're verifying your documentation. You can see where the valuation is in its progress. And then you can actually upload your own documents to UBank. So there's no need to process anything. There's no need to provide us with any other documentation. Then you scan in, upload it, we check it, and then we tell you you've checked it. So again, that's a very completely online. We've taken the whole thing out of the physical space. And then the next innovation then was around, well, we've approved your loan. Normally what we'd have to do is, physically send you a contract pack. You'd have to then sign it, send it back to us, etc. But what we've been able to do is we've actually been able to electronicize that contract pack. We upload it to your tracker. We send you an email to tell you it's there. You can come along, download it yourself. So we've taken out that time in the process as well. You download it, print it. The only one wet signature we need is on your contract. You give that to the settlement agent, and they handle the process for you from there.
Alex, you're speaking at IIR's Retail Financial Services Forum, which takes place on the 27th to 28th of September 2011 in Sydney. What will you be addressing in your presentation, and what would you like delegates to gain from witnessing it?
Well, I have a strong view that as an institution, the banks have to understand that their competition is not going to come from the other banks for very much longer. The competition is going to come from the experiences that people get from the likes of iTunes, iGoogle, Amazon, and the level of expectation, experience expectation that they have is going to come to such a level that, frankly, old-fashioned internet banking from your normal institution just won't be able to cope in that environment. It will not meet the bare minimum expectations. So the thought process that I would like to lead people down is how is that adoption of technology and people's use of technology and how that they perceive the minimum standards going to drive the need for the evolution of financial services and technology, and what does that mean for the change process that's required around financial services technology. So if you think about Google, just as a great example, how many products did they launch last year? They've got over 5,000 small initiatives on the go at any one time. Out of those 5,000 emerge great ideas like Google Earth, Gmail, etc., etc. How do we cope with that? Does Google run on a quarterly release cycle? No, of course it doesn't. How do we as bankers and financial institutions cope with that level of pace of change?
Alex Twigg, many thanks for your time today. We look forward to your presentation in Sydney in September.
It'll be an absolute pleasure. Look forward to it myself.